Just a few minutes from now, the Indian Space Research Organization will be attempting to create history. ISRO will launch the Space Docking Experiment, or SpaDeX, which is, in simple words, connecting two flying objects in space. But there's much more involved in this. It will unlock India's path to an exclusive club of countries, including the US, Russia and China, who have mastered this technology. The mission involves launching two specially designed satellites into space using PSLVC60. Each of these satellites weighs around 220 kgs. Chaser, or SDX-01 satellite, and Target, or SDX-02 satellite, will be launched into a low Earth circular orbit at an altitude of 470 kilometers. Now, through this mission, ISRO is aiming to achieve multiple targets. Space docking technology is the foremost and the most important aim that would enable ISRO to use this critical feature in its future lunar missions like Chandrayaan-4. Apart from testing India's docking and undocking capabilities, the mission's other objective is space exploration, so that it can send more than 20 payloads into space. ISRO, in fact, has called the SpaDeX mission a crucial step in paving the way for future missions involving astronauts, sample returns, and advanced space infrastructure. Now, interestingly, the satellites are also taking on them specimens of spinach, cowpeas, and other crops to study their behavior and growth pattern in extraterrestrial environments. This first biological payload is being sent by Amity University in Mumbai. SpaDeX will be a crucial step, remember, to strengthen India's major space startups as well, which are also sending their payloads into space. If successful, India will become only the fourth country in the entire world to ace this rather significant space technology. Let me straight away go across to my colleague Varshini, who's at Sriharikota, from where this launch will take place. She's in the middle of all the excitement that we are witnessing through the day today. Varshini, what a day to be at Sriharikota. India is aiming to create history once again and join the exclusive club, which only has 3 countries right now: US, Russia and China. But you're in the middle of all of this enthusiasm, all of this excitement taking place. Help us understand what is going on there. These are the last few minutes now, and everybody, not just the scientists, but the entire country is waiting with bated breath as to what will happen next at 10 o'clock.
Absolutely, yes. The last few minutes before India is going to achieve another milestone in space research, and the excitement, the happiness, the pride that one can sense at the Sriharikota Space Research Centre is humongous here. And this is a very, very important mission because India, like you mentioned, is going to join the elite club of nations where, space docking has been accomplished so far. India is going to be the 4th country, a very important milestone. And as we all know, PSLV, the most, personal, most, successful mission rocket of India, very, very indigenous. So PSLV-C60 mission is going to be used for the SpaDeX mission. And like you can see, we will, like the scientists tell us, there are going to be 4 stages of separation. And these two, satellites that we were talking about, the SpaDeX mission is going to contain the Target and the Chaser. These will be released into the low orbit, and this is going to be through this PSLV that we are looking at a prototype of the PSLV right here, and it will be, placing these 2 small satellites into a circular orbit of an altitude of 470 kilometers. This is going to take us approximately, say, 95 minutes. Somewhere around 1 hour and 40 minutes to successfully complete this mission after its launch at 10 p.m., which is a few minutes away from. And this, like you mentioned, is going to be very, very crucial in the future lunar missions, particularly Chandrayaan-4, which is the next big thing that India is looking into. And also, the Gaganyaan mission, it's going to help a lot for, sending astronauts and, life into the space. And apart from this, POEM-4 is also very, very important to note because POEM-4 is going to contain 22 payloads, which is also a record-breaking number that India is going to send via this particular, PSLV-C60 mission. And 22 payloads can give us vast information, so much of connectivity, so much of communication, and many other things we are going to be able to achieve through these 22 payloads. There are a lot of, private startups that are also sending their payloads through this particular mission. So we are introducing a lot of private sector into this space research, which is also another big milestone. So many things, a big way, a very, very high positive way to end 2024 is what one can witness at this point. When we spoke to people who were, coming in large numbers to the gallery to sit here and watch and witness the live launching of this mission, all of them were just full of pride, full of excitement, and it gives us so much, pleasure to see that the nation is coming together to witness one such historical moment like the launch of PSLV C60 mission. So we can only hope, this successfully completes today, because the countdown has already begun at Shar. We are at T minus 23 right now. So in another 23 minutes, we are going to witness the launch from here. And that is what we are picking up right now from Sriharikota's Satish Dhawan Space Research Centre. Shreya.
Varshini, these are the extremely anxious 23 minutes that we are looking at, not just for scientists there at the Satish Dhawan Space Centre in Andhra Pradesh, but the entire country and the world closely watching what ISRO is doing, what the Indian space sector is doing and aiming to attempt. But thank you very much, Varshini. We'll keep coming back to you for what is happening there. This is a historic moment, ladies and gentlemen. Let's also listen in to what people are feeling, the citizens of India today, as ISRO attempts to create history. There are a few people that Varshini, my colleague, talked with. Let's listen in to them.
We are extremely happy to be part of this PSLVC60 mission. So as a part of Poem 4, along with the SpaDeX mission, Poem 4 is also into this part, so PSLV C60. So multiple NGEs and multiple institutions, educational institutions are being part of this mission, and we are so happy to be involved in this. So we are sending one payload, which is UHF communication tech, and we are planning to have our own communication modules and ground stations from UHF band to KU band. So as a part of SpaDeX VX series, we are going to build multiple communication systems. So currently it is a first a test that we are going to have, which is in the UHF tech. Hopefully we are expecting to get the first pass on January early morning 1 a.m. approximately. So we are hoping that we'll start the year on good terms with our signal or our data being received.
We have approached ISRO regarding the Poem mission. They were very supportive from the very beginning of time. InSpace has been a crucial part in getting contact to ISRO. InSpace helped us a lot get the contact and get the right parameters, and whatever the things we need, we have communicated through InSpace only. I think it's a very good mission. InSpace is helping a lot of startups, not just startups, any education institutions, everything. It helps us a lot.
All right, with that, of course, before I get in my guests on the show, let's also tell you these are live visuals that are coming out of the Satish Dhawan Space Centre in Sriharikota. ISRO scientists who worked hard through this year for this day to come. Just a few minutes of, all that hard work, all of that technical nitty-gritties that are put in place for this launch now coming to the fore. Let me also welcome Mr. Vinod Srivastava, former ISRO scientist, joining us. Mr. Srivastava is in fact at Sriharikota, I believe. Good evening. Namaskar, sir. Thank you very much for sparing the time to talk with us. These are extremely anxious, exciting moments for ISRO scientists, for the entire country, for the citizens. But help us understand what ISRO is trying to do today. At 10 p.m. when we see that launch of SpaDeX, what do you mean by docking and undocking of satellites?
Let me address what the meaning of docking and docking. Now you take a very simplest way. You have seen on the rail, when the engine is being attached to the bogie, you have got a mechanism where which they both comes together and somebody manually puts a pin and lock it. Now here, when we have to make a space station in orbiting around the Earth around 300 to 400 kilometers, each item, it weighs around 4 tons to 5 tons. So now what is the ISS? The International Space Station is there. Then there is a station is there from the China. So what they did, they have launched these modules weighing around 4 to 5 tons in the orbit. Then immediately they launch another module by another rocket. And in the space, they have joined both the modules together so that a astronaut, a cosmonaut, whatever name they gave, when they go from one capsule, they should be able to reach in the station. So now what we are doing in the ISRO, we are going to test the mechanism by which these two modules are joined together. So now we are going to launch two satellites, which is having that interface. What I mean that the mechanism, what is there, it is having around a 250 millimeter of diameter in the SpaDeX 1
Okay.
and SpaDeX 2. So when they are launched in the space around 350 kilometers circular orbit, which is moving at the speed of 7.6 kilometer per second, or you say in that speed, we have to join these two modules. In docking, these two
Okay.
modules will be joined together. On docking, these two modules will be again separated. So you can imagine if
Okay.
an astronaut has gone in the International Space Station, which India is going to our own, we are going to call as a Bharat Space
Yeah.
Station. So I have to send a person into that module. So to need a manhole, the diameter should be about shoulder to shoulder. It should be around 800 millimeter. But today is our first step to construct such a station in the space. So we have made a mechanism in such a way which can be accommodated in a rocket heat shield, means we should able to accumulate within the envelope of the heat shield. So we have chosen that
Okay.
mechanism.
Sir, can I also understand from you, how challenging is this? Because you just have three countries who've mastered this technology of docking and undocking, and India is aiming to become only the fourth country in the world to do so. NASA made its first attempt in 1965. They failed that time. Why is it so difficult if you had to explain it to a layman?
Now to explain a layman, now whenever we make some rockets, and we found one day that this rocket can be used for some other technology without expending much more money to develop a rocket. So our aim should be there that we should not be none to anybody in the world. Now other countries they have demonstrated and they made it. So now we as a member of ISRO, we are going to have the first step towards the making the Bharat Earth Station. So here we are going to test the technology, how to join the two modules together when moving with a very high speed, around 7,000 kilometer per second. So this is we are going to demonstrate in this experiment. When this is successful, then we are going
Okay.
to use our heavy rockets, that is LVM-3, where we can able to launch a modules weighing about 5 to 10 tons. This will be the ultimate aim. So this is the first our step towards this side.
Okay. 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 Sir, I request you to stay with us. We're also joined by Vice Chancellor of Amity University, Mumbai, Dr. Santosh Kumar. Amity University, ladies and gentlemen, remember, is sending the first biological payload. And it's interesting because it's got crops, it's got spinach callus or spinach pieces going on that very mission, SpaDeX mission, which will be launched at 10 p.m. and they're going to be studying how spinach grows in space. Good evening and namaskar, Dr. Kumar. Thank you very much for speaking with us on Mirror Now. My first question to you is, of course, about this hugely interesting biological payload, a bio payload that is going into space today. It's carrying spinach on it and it's going to study how it grows. Tell us more about it.
First of all, I wish to thank Mirror Now for giving us this opportunity to propagate what is really going on with the ISRO payload as of now. The major mission this time is with regard to the biological payload. And that Amity University, Mumbai, has a Center for Excellence in Astrobiology. And I should certainly say this is the greatest vision and the mission of our Honorable Founder President, Dr. Ashok K. Chavan ji, and with the incessant support of our Chancellor, Honorable Asim Chavan, we were able to pull this through in making this payload happen for the first time and putting it to orbit just a while now. The payload consists of Spinach, which we are mainly focusing on. The reason being the main objective of this particular experiment is that in due course of a time when space missions happen with the human on the spaceship, there should be some food and nutrition which they would want to have it, not with the condensed nutrition they would have it through tablets. So this important mission will take up this objective, and we have put in the callus or a meristematic growth of the spinach into the module, as we call it as a payload, and we wanted to put it in orbit, which will go on the POEM-4 platform of ISRO. And this we call it as the Amity space experiment. Yeah.
Sir, also help us understand the challenges that this kind of an experiment faces. Of course, oxygen level is the foremost challenge that, that spinach growth will face.
See, one of the important thing is that we choose spinach or the callus over the seeds. Is that callus is undifferentiated growth of cells. This could differentiate into different parts of the plant, and this could be easily propagated. So that is one of the important things. So rather than you put the seeds and then you go for germination with a good conducive environment, callus is a bit sturdy material where this could be put on orbit in a zero gravity. So we also would want to just check the light and also the amelioration of the gravitational stress, which will regulate this growth. Because this is more important here. And the callus is a very sturdy material that would withstand a lot of adverse conditions as we find it in zero gravity. But however, we would want to test it in the real-time fashion because the callus can move into or shoot into a whole plant as by little modification. That is why callus is an excellent in vitro model versus the seeds that we have chosen for. And also the testing of the callus, how does the callus grow? What is the vitality of the callus in zero gravity growth can be easily assessed by the color of this callus. Because spinach, as you have seen, it is very green in color. Discoloration, minute discolorations could be seen very, very evidently. That will commiserate with the growth of the plant. So that is one important thing. The other, this is being gauged there in our payload through an inbuilt camera, which will do a real-time picture and it will send it. And even the minute depth of cells will be easily seen through this camera. The third important thing is they are all fast growing, and the growth is very easily measured because the growth is on a horizontal way and little bit of meristematic on top. So we would measure both the length and breadth of the callus, so that in due course of a time, we could graft those calluses and then make them into different individual plants. So the propagation becomes very faster. It is very, very time effective, and it is very cheaper. And this, if it is going to be assessed in the zero gravity condition, it will really bring about a great turnaround in the space food and nutrition. That is the major objective of this.
And what is the difference between the kind of growth that you would see on Earth and the kind of growth that you're expecting in space as far as the spinach callus is concerned? What would you rate as a success?
There is no specific timeline or yardstick for this because we are doing two simultaneous experiments. One would be on the payload, and one we started exactly at 10 o'clock in the lab itself. So the same payload which has the callus, a replica of that is being maintained in the laboratory in a similar condition. And we will check this as compared to the other one. So this is one of the major comparative experiments that will tell you that what is the major difference raw as compared to the zero gravity growth. That is one of the important points that we are also taking to work. And the gravitational stress is more important. And the plants growing in gravity is very sturdy plants only can grow. That is why we have chosen the scalus of the spinach.
My last question to you, Dr. Santosh Kumar, you're in the middle of all the excitement. It is a proud moment. Just the fact that we're attempting this is also very, makes us very proud as citizens of the country. But what's the kind of sentiment there in Sriharikota? There is, of course, palpable excitement. There is also nervousness as to what will happen at 10 p.m.
I should certainly say since 4 o'clock in the morning, we were there for the security check. We met with the chairman of ISRO, Somnathji, and our honorable chancellor, Asim Chavanji, was about to join us here for the launch. And it is tight security, very good sentiment here. Everyone is geared up and very anxious, fingers crossed, because this is the first of its kind that the ISRO is venturing into. And it's a very pivotal question that ISRO is focusing on that. And I really appreciate the vision of our honorable founder chancellor, founder president, where since 5 years ago he had started an astrobiology center, which had made us all work in unison for that such a vision that is now culminating into the fruit. So this is the first step, but yet a very strong and important step with all total sentiments and with lot of divine this thing. We are looking forward to a good launch by 10 o'clock. And I should also certainly thank our team of scientists, especially I should mention Dr. Sneha, Dr. Selva Kumar, Dr. Ravi Shankar, Dr. Penna Suprasanna, who have been there doing this particular part.
All right, Dr. Kumar, thank you very much for speaking with us on Global Mirror, and best of luck to all of you there who are awaiting this. We are all waiting and we are closely watching whatever has been happening in Sriharikota. Thank you very much. We continue to be joined by Mr. Vinod Srivastava, former ISRO scientist. Mr. Srivastava, thank you very much for your patience. These are live visuals that are coming out of ISRO right now, and it's just a few minutes and we'll see that launch happening by ISRO. But help us also understand, sir, when would you consider that this has been a success? It's going to be launched at 10, but after how much time will we know that this has been successfully completed, or at least successfully placed as far as the ISRO's targets are concerned?
Okay. Now this rocket PSLV, which is going to be flown for the 62nd time, being a PSLV 62 times we have flown this rocket. Now this whole process starts from T minus 3 seconds. When the countdown starts, when they count 10, 9, at 3 seconds, they fire 2 rockets, very small rockets, which is in the base. They will focus you at the time of the countdown. This is the start of this. These rockets are supposed to control the rocket, control the fully PSLV rocket if it is revolves around its axis. So they will, then otherwise this will be kept the vertically. At T0, the first stage will ignite, which is having around 138 tons of propellant. So this stage of the burning for the few seconds, and they provide a certain velocity, and the rocket will be proceeding the further. Now at the end of its propellant is completely exhausted, and then this stage becomes as a dead mass. It is the high time to remove this hardware as a dead mass from the main rocket. Otherwise, it will start pulling down. So that is called the first stage separation. At the same time, the second stage, which is the liquid propellants, which is having around 42 tons of US-25, that is unsymmetrical dimethyl hydrazine and hydrazine mixture in 70-25 ratio. It burns along with the N2O4 nitrogen tetroxide around 144 seconds. And it provides the velocity around 4 km per second. Like this, the third stage,
Okay.
Then it starts the fourth stage. So the whole process, it takes around 17 minutes to reach the circular orbit which is required. And the onboard computers, they will go on monitoring its velocity. If all the conditions are met for the velocity as well as the altitude, then the command will be given to inject the first satellite, which is this SpaDeX01. Within 20 milliseconds, 200 milliseconds, second satellite also will be ejected in the same orbit. And the both will be having a separation distance around 20 kilometers. So this process will start from 10 o'clock, start from here. Within 17 or slightly near about, I don't have the correct number here, it will be in the orbit. So afterwards, our scientists who are monitoring these systems, they will start correcting his, start seeing his orbit to take the further action when the docking process to start. So this is the whole process how the rocket is injected from T0 to inject point.
Okay, this is extremely fascinating, sir. You know, this entire process that you explained, of course, people like us who are not very familiar with the nitty-gritties and the technicalities of spacecraft and space missions, we will, of course, you know, try and gauge whatever has been happening in Sriharikota. But we are getting live visuals from Sriharikota, sir, and let's put those up on the visuals. There's a team of scientists, of course, as we always see before any launch that happens. There's also people who are waiting outside with the tricolor in their hand, with lots of excitement, lots of pride in their hearts, waiting for ISRO to create history and make everyone proud. But these moments, sir, help us understand, you know, what goes through the minds of ISRO scientists. You are a former ISRO scientist. You know the kind of sentiment, the kind of feeling that one goes through before such a crucial launch.
Yeah, it's so many hours, our man hours are put together to integrate one rocket here. This is the particular rocket of PSLVC60. It has been integrated in another building, what name has been given as a PIF. So in that facility, the rocket was not fitted with the docking and undocking satellites because there is no facility in that particular integration building. So this rocket was moved on the rails, the distance about 1.2 kilometer or 1.5 kilometer, and then brought to the mobile service tower. A mobile service tower is the first place from where we started launching the PSLV first rocket. So it has brought there. Then after putting inside the mobile service tower, which is around 74-meter tall, 14 by 14 is a platform area where we can work there. And these two satellites, along with the other payloads, were integrated on the top of the fourth stage, and the heat shield was closed. Now, what rocket now you are seeing at the launch pad, where the mobile service tower has been retracted back to the parking slot, and the rocket is ready for the launch. Now, I think your time is getting
Okay, sir, you know, in fact, that countdown has begun, I believe. I'll come back to you. Let's listen into what's happening there. That countdown, ladies and
now
gentlemen,
countdown is coming to an end, I think.
has begun.
जैसे यूएस, रशिया और चाइना, इस प्रयोग के पश्चात भारत भी उन चुनिंदा देशों में होगा जिसके पास यह तकनीक होगी। अब हम उड़ान से 50 सेकंड की दूरी पर
-45 seconds. -40 seconds. -35 seconds. -30 seconds.
Real-time programs activated.
-25 seconds. -20 seconds. -15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. +5 seconds.
Liftoff normal. That's a marvelous liftoff of PSLV60 SpaDeX mission on the go.
Plus 15
Sleek
seconds.
PSLV core-alone vehicle
Good to tracking.
saluted against the night sky. A beautiful sight to behold.
First
जी हाँ,
stage
अभी आपने देखा
performance normal.
सफलतापूर्ण उत्थापन PSLV-C60 रॉकेट का रात
Plus
को
30
रोशन
seconds.
करता हुआ PSLV-C60 अपने उद्दिष्ट कक्षा की ओर
PCR tracking.
सभी तंत्र सामान्य निष्पादन करते हुए रेंज ऑपरेशन डायरेक्टर ने इसकी पुष्टि की है। प्रथम चरण का निष्पादन पूरी तरह सामान्य है। प्रथम चरण का कुल कार्यकाल लगभग 111 सेकंड का होगा।
Tracking. Plus 1 minute. Sharp 1 minute tracking.
S139 motor currently thrusting, developing 4,800 kilonewtons thrust. Its 138-ton solid propellants take 111 seconds to deplete.
Stage performance normal.
आसमान पूरी तरह साफ, इसलिए दूर तक हम देख सकते हैं। इस बार प्रथम चरण का प्रतिकन भी पूरी तरह साफ दिखाई देगा हमें।
Shah station currently tracking the rocket.
First stage separated. Second stage engine started. Closed loop guidance initiated.
प्रथम चरण के कार्यकाल के पश्चात उसे सफलतापूर्वक पृथक कर दिया गया है यान से तथा द्वितीय चरण PS2
Second
स्टेज का
stage
प्रज्वलन शुरू हो
performance
चुका है।
normal.
The second stage has commenced its operation after the first stage separation. This stage burns on hypergolic earth-storable propellant combination of hydride of unsymmetrical dimethyl hydrazine and dinitrogen tetroxide. The legendary Vikas engine developing 800 kilonewtons thrust in vacuum.
यान के सभी तंत्र सामान्य प्रदर्शन कर रहे हैं और यान उद्दिष्ट कक्षा की ओर बढ़ रहा है। यह द्वितीय चरण है जिसका कार्यकाल लगभग 150 सेकंड का होगा। इस दौरान वह 800 किलो न्यूटन का प्रणोद उत्पन्न कर रहा है और इंजन जिम्बल की मदद से दिशा निर्धारण किया जा रहा है। इस दौरान यान क्लोज लूप गाइडेंस के अंतर्गत काम कर रहा है। कुछ ही क्षणों में हम पेलोड फेयरिंग यानी ऊष्मा कवच का प्रतिकन देखेंगे।
Payload fairing separated.
That's the next major flight event achieved, the separation of payload fairing.
Second stage performance normal.
प्रमोचन यान अब घने वातावरण से बाहर जा चुका है। अब इसकी ऊंचाई लगभग 130 किलोमीटर हो चुकी है, इसलिए ऊष्मा कवच की अब कोई आवश्यकता नहीं है। इसे यान से पृथक कर दिया गया है।
The second stage operation lasts for 151 seconds and will be jettisoned 4 minutes 20 seconds into flight. Shar and Port Blair stations tracking currently.
द्वितीय चरण तरल पर आधारित चरण है। इसमें लगभग 42 टन तरल नोदक का प्रयोग किया जाता है। अब इस गतिविधि में अगली घटना होगी द्वितीय चरण का पृथकन तथा तृतीय चरण का प्रज्वलन शुरू।
Second stage separated. Third stage ignited.
We are four and a half minutes into flight and the third stage has commenced
Third
its
stage
operation.
performance normal.
द्वितीय चरण को कार्यकाल के पश्चात सफलतापूर्वक पृथक कर दिया गया है तथा तृतीय चरण ठोस नोदक पर आधारित तृतीय चरण इसका प्रज्वलन शुरू हो चुका है। पूरे तंत्र पूरी तरह सामान्य कार्य करते हुए
Third stage of PSLV operates
Plus
on
5
7.6 tons of HTPB based solid propellant. Vacuum thrust, close to 240 kilonewtons, and close to 2 minutes burn time.
PSLV का यह तृतीय चरण HPS 3 चरण के नाम से जाना जाता है, हाई परफॉर्मेंस PS3 स्टेज। इसमें कुल 7.6 टन का ठोस नोदक, और इस दौरान यह 240 किलोन्यूटन का प्रणोद उत्पन्न कर रहा है।
Third stage performance normal.
तृतीय चरण को सतीश धवन अंतरिक्ष केंद्र द्वारा निर्मित किया जाता है।
Trajectory of the rocket closely following the prediction.
Plus 6 minutes.
यान पूरी तरह अपेक्षित पथ का अनुकरण करता हुआ अब तृतीय चरण अपने अंतिम कार्यकाल की ओर।
Third stage action completed.
The third
Vehicle in
stage
combined
has
hosting approximately for 125 seconds.
during the coast phase along with Shar and Port Blair stations. The tracking station at Singapore also starts to acquire the tracking and telemetry data.
तृतीय चरण का कार्यकाल समाप्त हो चुका है। इसके पश्चात कोस्टिंग फेज की शुरुआत हो चुकी है। यह कोस्टिंग फेज 125 सेकंड का होगा। इस दौरान बिना किसी प्रबंधन के यान सिर्फ दिशा निर्धारण करते हुए अपनी उद्दिष्ट कक्षा की ओर बढ़ रहा है।
As a precursor to rehearse for Gaganyaan mission, 11 ground stations will support for PSLV-C60 launch vehicle for orbits 1 and 2.
पूर्वी दिशा का यह मिशन है, इसलिए ग्राउंड स्टेशंस में शार, पोर्ट ब्लेयर, सिंगापुर, यत्रगा, शेटलैंड यूके, प्लाना और मॉरिशस स्थित ग्राउंड स्टेशंस इसे ट्रैक कर हम तक डेटा उपलब्ध कराएंगे।
Plus 8 minutes.
वर्तमान में शार तथा पोर्ट ब्लेयर स्थित ग्राउंड स्टेशन हम तक डेटा उपलब्ध करा रहे हैं। यान के सभी आंकड़े हम तक टेलीमेट्री डेटा द्वारा प्राप्त किए जाते हैं और उससे हमें अभी यह पता लग रहा है कि सभी तंत्र सामान्य हैं। यान अपने उद्दिष्ट दिशा की ओर।
Third stage separated.
History and achievements. A
We
historic
have a
end
confirmation from
to
range
2024 likely. And the liftoff has been successful, is what we are being told at this point.
Stage, uppermost stage PS4 is currently operating.
I'm being joined by Mr. Vinod Srivastava as well as my colleague Shreya Upadhyaya. Thank you very much. Good evening to both of you and to all of our viewers. Well, quite an end to a 2024. This is going to be the PSLV-C60 mission is a pivotal moment in India's space journey. It's possibly going to join just about 4 countries, China, Russia and United States, powerhouses quite literally of what's going to be unfolding. Vinod Srivastava, if you could take it over from us at this point and explain what's happened when we say the liftoff has been successful. What does that indicate? What are we expecting over the next few hours?
Now the 2 satellites, SpaDeX and SpaDeX is not injected. Now is the 4th stage, which will take to that orbit of 350 kilometers and the velocity of 7,668 meters per second. Till that time, we have to wait and see. This is the final stage. Now, as per that graph is shown here, the satellite and the fourth stage is going in the predicted path as is shown there. Now you can see this is a twin engine in the fourth stage. Fourth stage is filled with 1.6 tons of MON3, that oxides of nitrogen oxide, and monomethyl hydrazine. With this thrusting, this will thrust, will take it to the orbit, required orbit, where these two satellites will be injected. So now what we are seeing, we have to wait some more time to see the performance of the fourth stage. Then only when all the parameters which is required for injecting the satellites, that is the speed, that is the altitude, the orientation, if they are met, then only will be injected. Now you can see in this graph, there is a mark shown after some few centimeter, that is the injection port. So we have to wait for another, I think, 40 seconds, 40, 50 seconds till we achieve that orbit.
Well, that's interesting,
So
Mr. Vinod. Shreya, this is also very important for India, Shreya, considering this is going to be possibly a precursor to understand how this entire thing is going to work out when we talk about the manned missions, the human missions, the lunar missions. So many that is at stake, Shreya.
And, you know, as I have been saying through the day today, Sneha, it's a good time to be alive in India because the Indian Space Research Organization is making some humongous strides in the space sector and taking Indian space sector to newer heights. And this is one huge example of that. Right now, just 3 countries, United States, Russia and China, have mastered the docking and undocking technology. This is an exclusive club, and India, with this launch, is aiming to enter that club and be only the 4th country in the entire world to have mastered this docking and undocking capability in space. But as you know, Vinod Srivastava sir was saying that there needs to be time given to this entire mission to understand what it is doing, docking and undocking in space, how it helps Indian space sector, especially with the kind of lunar missions that we've done and we plan to do in the near future. Chandrayaan 4 is in the pipeline. There's also Gaganyaan mission, a hugely ambitious project that ISRO is working upon, and docking and undocking, which is basically connecting 2 satellites or flying objects in space and then separating them in layman's terms to simplify for our viewers, is what ISRO is trying to do today with this launch, with this mission. And if we're able to be successful in this, we will be able to use this space technology in our future missions such as Chandrayaan 4, such as Gaganyaan, and many more that are in the pipeline. So we'll have to wait just a few minutes. I know this is you know, a hugely exciting moment for all of us. Whatever the ISRO and this, you know, Indian Space Agency does causes a lot of excitement, causes a lot of anxiety as well. But just a few more seconds and we'll have ISRO chief himself coming up and saying this mission has been successful. But of course, we'll have to give it some time before we can hugely and fully and completely celebrate this entire mission.
Absolutely, Shreya, and possibly 2024 has been a landmark year for when it comes to India and its space odyssey, as it were. A lot more at stake. 2025 is going to be crucial as well. So at least we can take off from where 2024 is ending quite on a high note. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll keep our focus on this as well. But when it comes to ISRO's latest takeoff, that's all we have for now. And we'll be shifting our focus and gear